It's so good to be here, guys. Summer series. We're continuing. My name's Dean Cottrill. We've got Lisa Piccardo. Hey, Lisa, how are you today?
I'm great. Great to see you, Dean.
Yeah, thank you. And we're so excited. As you might recall, we're doing a summer series. One of the things that we want to do here at T3 is, with the change that's going on in the marketplace, we want to come out each week at this time, same channel, and do a LinkedIn Live and talk about one key component of running a brokerage, running a team very successfully. And today we have a tremendous topic and a great guest, 1-2 punch here. We've got Bonnie Mays with us. Hey, Bonnie, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Dean? Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you. Bonnie runs the United Real Estate operation that she is a principal broker and owner of, both in Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky. She has a total of over 450 agents in 2 locations, and she has recruited year-to-date 56 recruits. So when we were going to do recruiting in this flash webinar setup here, I'm like, Bonnie, would you come on and share some of your insight? And she said, most definitely. So we're so excited to have you here, Bonnie. We're going to dive into a little keynote. We're going to give some really good information to those that are watching. This is what we share with Bonnie in our fellows program, along with other clients that we work with. And then we'll have Bonnie and the 3 of us and Lisa and I are going to just talk about recruiting and get some insight. If you remember, we've really dove into these 7 key areas in these LinkedIn Lives as we go through the summer here in all these areas. Today is all about agent count. Number 1 on this list, and it's number 1 for a reason. It's the most important, and that's agent count. So we're going to dive deep in this.
So we're going to talk about 3 strategies for recruiting productive agents. The first is gap analysis and goal setting. Again, we only have 15 minutes. We're not going to go really deep on this, but we're going to give you some high level. And then we believe it's really important to create your recruiting persona. What is the avatar that you're trying to recruit? And third is standardize and implement a recruiting process. So what does that look like? And then we're going to talk to Bonnie, who has some amazing process. So first we'll start a little bit with gap analysis and goal setting. And really, what are the total agents that you need? Dean, do you want to speak to this slide?
Yep. So this is a great spreadsheet. This is one column here. You can see, well, there's 2 columns there, 3 total. We've got the categories on the left, the current numbers, and we put a hypothetical brokerage right there, 1,000 units, 70 agents, so on and so forth. And you can go right down and see exactly all the details in there. And this what if spreadsheet says, okay, what if we increase that agent count to 80 productive agents from 70? And I say productive, that we kept the per person productivity the same and we kept everything else the same. So if you increase 10 agents and everything else stayed the same, if you look at that very bottom line, net profit at the current scenario with 70 productive agents there, $371,350. That was the net profit. EBITDA, as we want to say, right, Bonnie? And if you look at the increase in agent count, if you go up 10 agents, the bottom line increase is $562,625. This is by far the fastest way for you to increase your bottom line profit is by recruiting agents, and if they're, of course, productive agents. But that is the easiest and fastest way to increase your bottom line profit.
So that would increase it by 190,000, just 10 agents, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then we'll let Dean speak to this too about churn rate.
And we have to also, because one of the biggest things that we find, Lisa and I, when we're working with our clients, one of the biggest challenges, people don't take into account what we call a churn rate, are also known as a disassociation rate. So if you can see this graph right here, you can see on the far right, it says previous 12 months, 13 to 24 months. And then the column next to it, last 12 months. This is one thing as an aside, you really want to track your numbers on a 24-month basis, 13 to 24 months, do that 12-month window, and then the last 12 months, and see how you're differing in different specific key areas of running your brokerage or running your team. In this area, if you look in the gray section, you can see churn rate, churn at 8% in the last 12 months and at 14% the prior 12 months. That is a percentage. So you started off the beginning at 70 agents, and if you just follow that down the last 12 months column, number of agents that removed or left, 6 agents left out of that 70, that's 8%. And that's where that number comes from. And one of the things that we would encourage you that you do when you think about your growth goal, if I'm at 100 agents, I want to go to 110, how many agents do you lose on average over the course of the last 24 months? So 8% plus 14 is 22%. divide that in half. That's 11%. So I'm going to lose about 11%. So if I've got 100 agents, I'm going to lose 11 of them. And if I want to go to 110, I got to bring in 21 to get to 110. All right. And that becomes your goal. That becomes how you map out what you need to do and what you need to accomplish to hit that ultimate goal for you in recruiting.
And then your process, right? So it's really important. Again, we talk about who is your persona, where are you going to find them? Plans for engaging potential agents, what resources are needed, all of this, right? So we have, and when you're in our T3 Fellows program, we go through, this is one of the modules that we really spend a lot of time on. And we have a worksheet that we help you figure out what are the resources, what does this agent need, all of that. And then the third piece is really standardizing and implementing that recruiting process. And this is where we're going to turn over to Bonnie, but I'll skip through these bullets. But for sourcing and prospecting, where are you going to find each of those avatars, right? Whatever it is that you're looking for. What marketing strategies are you going to use? What do your meetings look like? Do you have a systemized process for meeting with new recruits? What's your follow-up plan? What does that look like? And then how do you make the offer? Do you have a process for that as well? So I'm going to turn it over and we are going to have a conversation with Bonnie.
Yeah, we're so excited. So part of this too, you think about in the recruiting space, Bonnie, I'm sure as we went through that, what popped in my mind at the end of there when we talked about that process, how many leaders are out there just winging it, right? Just out there trying to wing it. And they just hope they're on when they meet with that recruit and hope everything comes together. So share with us and your insight and the folks that are watching this, Bonnie, you've done this for a long time. You're so successful, 56 recruits year to date this year. Some people might say, oh, the market's changing, so people really aren't moving. And you are completely showing that that's not true, right? And so the statistics are not accurate there. So
and
give us some
450 agents, right? And 2 offices. So big company.
Right. So what would you say, Bonnie, in your experience, share with everybody watching, what would you say to them about recruiting? Go ahead and just open up and share your insights, please.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, I think it begins with a mindset. And I think if you are the broker and the leader of a company, you can't be listing and selling real estate. I understand when I started, I had to pick a date. And as of this date, I would no longer be an agent with a broker's license. I would be a true leader and I would be a true broker. I felt like I was not smart enough to think about how am I going to get that listing sold and what do these buyers need, at the same time thinking about what do my agents need and how am I going to attract more agents. So it starts with a mindset. The recruiting is all I think about. Then it starts with a plan, a system, with a strong CRM. I choose my agents from the MLS based on their production, based on their reputation. And then I also encourage my agents, my existing agents, to be ambassadors for our company and to bring their friends. And when they do, they get a little stipend, they get a little financial bonus. But if they really are plugged into the culture, then they will share with their friends out in the marketplace what's really unique about our company, and they will come and follow them. So I think it starts with a mindset, obviously a plan. My plan is I use BombBomb, and I send out 2 recruiting emails through BombBomb 2 a month, with a call to action and with a link to our website. And I get a report on who's opened them, who's played the video, how many times they've looked at it. And of course, these are the people I call first. And I call them up and ask them if they've ever thought about changing offices, and try to get information from them, trying to find out what their pain point is, because agents who move have some pain point. And in the interview and on the telephone, you have to keep asking the right questions till you find what is their pain point, and then you share with them what you have that takes away that pain point. So it is a process, but it is every single day I recruit. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's Friday afternoon, haven't made any recruiting calls. I talk to 5. My goal is to talk to 5 recruits a day, and then 5 of my own agents each day, to say, how are you doing? What can I do to help you? And it works. It's a very great balancing system.
I love that you have a process. And I think when you talked about uncovering pain points, one of the things that you didn't say, but you meant is know your value proposition, right? Like that was reading between the lines. It's like, what can you offer them that's going to help, Band-Aid that pain that they have.
Right. Right. And believe it or not, I always ask each agent I talk to my magic wand question. And the magic wand is, if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing about your existing company, what would you change? Well, we think sometimes it's all about the money, but it's not about the money. More than anything, it's about support. And they say, well, many agents have said to me, I would just love to get a call back from my broker. So that is a huge part of my value proposition, because in the Louisville market, I am really one of a handful, maybe 3 brokers that do not list and sell. And that speaks to the support, and that speaks to my availability. And then the other brokers that I have on the team to help take those calls and support the agents, that is huge. That's huge.
Yeah. There's something too, when you say, Bonnie, about the, you had set a date in the calendar that says, when I get to this date, I no longer going to wear 2 hats, where I'm going to be actively selling and then recruiting and growing my brokerage. And that is something that we see when we work with organizations, depending whether they're teams, and you have a team leader who wants to get out of the team sales side of it and run it as a CEO, for example, or out of the brokerage space, same thing. And going through an exercise like we call strategic intent. What is that timeline? When am I going to pivot? Where do I ultimately want to focus in those energies? Like you said, I agree with you. When you have that energy focused on recruiting, and it's your air, the way you say it, it's the air that you breathe is recruiting.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you're awesome. And we're fortunate to have Bonnie in our T3 Fellows program. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for sharing those few takeaways. Obviously, we know that there's a lot. But let me, I'm just going to jump in here and we're going to speak quickly to a few of our T360 offerings with our brokerage consulting. So T3 Fellows, Bonnie, maybe you could just talk a little bit about that. I know you're just like in module 3, but that's our year-long 10 module program. Anything to share on that?
Oh, I would highly recommend it. It is an MBA program. It is a deep dive in how to run a business. It's not so much about real estate. It's how to run a business, how to know if you're profitable, how to know what your chart of accounts look like, what your branding looks like, and your strategic intent is where are you going and when are you going to get there and how are you going to get there? So it is unlike any training I've ever had as a broker of 30 years in this business. So I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you so much. And you can learn more at t3fellows.com. Another new program that we're offering is a comprehensive offering to really evaluate and improve your buyer agent segment of the business. This is a compensation risk assessment. I mean, we all saw the lawsuit that was settled last week with the MLS. So this is huge. And we have a program to help support companies in reviewing where you are in that program. And then last, Dean, you want to speak to leadership circles?
Yeah, so leadership circles is something that we put together. We decided with the change and challenge in the market that we want to create some, sprint, 6-month really mastermind is what we call our leadership circles. We're going to work with individual operators, whether team leaders, and put them in groups of teams that are geographically exclusive or brokerages, and then run on specific areas of running a business and masterminding. So we'll not only use curriculum and data and everything that we get here at T3 through our research, but also then we'll be also bringing in and masterminding with those leaders on key areas within a 6-month run. So it's called leadership circles.
And then lastly, and we'll close here, you can schedule a meeting with us. We'll also put it in the LinkedIn messaging with Dean or I to learn more about our offerings. But thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Bonnie. We so appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bonnie.
Same time, same place.
Bye.
Take care.
We'll see you. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.